You want me to tell you something? Even the
Please
government hasn't
do.
figured out.
I always love when you drop nuggets.
Yeah, it's all really has always been. The government does literally not know this yet because it didn't ask the right questions. But I'm just tired of waiting. Flynn told me no longer wait. You give the government something, give them 2 or 3 days, and then you go public with it. This was all always out of Serbia. Even the original hacking of Venezuelans' own elections, everything was architected. So there's an office in Belgrade, Serbia, with Huawei machines that are actually running the computer, the deepest rig of all, the rig that comes from overseas, not the stuff we all know about, getting dead people to vote and getting, not all that on the ground stuff that we beat by tightening up all the enforcement in every county in America and all that stuff we're hearing about. But the nuke they always had was there's an office in Serbia that comes into the back of the machines and changes results if they still need to change them after they did all the ground cheating they need to. That's been like this, it turns out, from the beginning in Venezuela. It's always been architected. Smartmatic was always architected around an office in Belgrade, Serbia, to be able to come in and do this. And then as other companies as other brands came on the market, it's all Smartmatic junk inside, whether it's Hart or Dominion or ES&S. As that's on the market, that Belgrade, those are just different hood ornaments on the same machines. And so the Belgrade, Serbia office is not some recent invention. It's been architected into the Venezuela since the 04 referendum. It's been architected in from the beginning. And the United States government doesn't even know that because they're so slow in coming up to speed. Now, I don't mean to offend them, and I'm very pleased that they are coming up to speed, but I just can't take it anymore. The amount of stuff we still know that they haven't gotten to because they are so slow in digesting information.
Okay, let me ask you, Patrick, how does the government not know this? Because I know that there's communications with Serbia. There's other people who have reported on other aspects of this. That's part of the public record. Okay, so I'm not saying something that's not part of the public record. So how does the government not know?
The government knows all about Serbia now and the role Serbia played in 2020, okay. And they know all that now. What they didn't know, and I didn't know until 72 hours ago, was this Serbian evolution it's not some recent evolution. It was Venezuela designed its systems around this Serbian office back 20 years ago, which is very interesting because now Serbia is really the western edge of the Chinese. It's the westernmost satellite of the Chinese empire. Serbia is right now. So given that we've seen Serbia in all this stuff in the last 5 to 10 years, I was saying that's got to be China. If it was architected around Serbia 20 years ago, that's when Serbia was more of it was a Chinese-Russian joint holding. That puts Russia in the middle of this as well. Russia, now I'm not saying the 2020 or the 2024 they were involved in, but if this has been operating for 20 years out of Serbia, then it's been doing so. Russian intelligence knows about it as well as Chinese intelligence.
This kind of goes back to, you mentioned all the other companies. This goes back to what somebody, it may have been you and I were talking. I talk about this every day with someone. You can't say voting machines, really. It's the software, right? And the software is a derivative of the original Smartmatic, and that's in every single voting machine, some kind of version of it, right?
Correct. It's like the Windows operating system of these machines. Exactly. And, even the fact that it's made people.
So how Serbia, does it play into all of them then, or is it just one company?
No. Serbia plays into all of them. Serbia plays into all of them now. But the thing is, you need to understand there's ways of cheating on the ground that you and Mike Lindell have been following for 4 years. And all these turning over all the ways they cheat on the ground, from stuffing voter records and voting them and the mail-in, this, that. But at the end of the day, they've got this switch they can throw from Serbia and force at the end. So they cheat all they can to get their candidate to win. But if he doesn't win, at the end of the day, they just force it anyway from Serbia. So that's their ace in the hole. And what I did not know until the last 72 hours was their involvement is not a recent thing. It's been in for 20 years. They've been involved, which from an intelligence point of view.
If they've been in rigging elections for 20 years, how many elections have they impacted?
Oh, I can tell you one of the most dramatic moments of this that has to be in the movie was last summer. I was over in a safe house in Europe with a bunch of people who are who are like very knowledgeable from this industry, from the bad guys, got bad guys to flip. And they were with me in a safe house, all protected by gunmen and stuff. And Mike Flynn came over to see them. He came over and he took 2 days and came down to see me. And but we spent 90 minutes with these people. And these are people who've been doing this. And I said, General Flynn, I haven't told you this story, have I? This was one of the most dramatic moments where I said, remember, you're going to meet these people that kind of overthrew our country. Don't get angry. You're going to want to get angry. Don't get. He said, of course. I've interrogated people. I said, okay, well, we sat there for 90 minutes, and he's so poker face. He's so wonderful. He was very kind and gentle, and I could tell he was steaming, but he was keeping his composure. But he was steaming at what he was hearing. And we were about to leave. And he was satisfied. He had asked all the engineers all the questions, and he was satisfied he was hearing the truth. I said, before we left, I told one of the engineers, tell the general how much this has been going on. And this guy kind of gulped, and he looked General Flynn in the eyes, and he said, sir, General, we've been manipulating elections for 20 years in 72 nations.